Hey guys, it's me Lexi. Welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Lexi and I'm a full-time reseller on Poshmark, Mercari, eBay, and anywhere you can sell clothing or home decor online. And today I will be doing a question and answer video. I asked you guys on my Instagram what questions you guys had for me. And so I typed them out and I put them on my computer. They're right in front of me. So if I'm looking down a little bit, that's just because that's where the questions are. But I will be answering all of your guys' questions. Some of them kind of, fit with a different question. So I kind of combined it into one question, but everyone's question will be answered today. So yes, thank you guys so much for asking the questions to begin with and for just being interested in this type of video. I do get a lot of direct messages on Instagram constantly asking a lot of these questions. So this will be a good little place to point people to. So yes, let's just get into the questions. So the first question is, what is your dream career? And honestly, this is my dream career. I am so happy to be a reseller. Before getting into reselling, I did want to become a journalist, which obviously that kind of stopped becoming my dream when I discovered reselling. I discovered reselling my freshman year of college. This was kind of another one of the questions. How did you get into reselling? My freshman year of college, I met a couple friends who did this and they took me to Goodwill with them just to hang out, and they were getting stuff to resell and I was so intrigued by what they were doing. And so I asked them more about it and then they got me into it. So really I just kind of fell into it because my friends were doing it, so I did. So it never started out with me selling my own clothes and then realizing I could do it with, thrift store clothes, but literally I just started going to thrift stores and selling what I found there. It's really cool. I always say that the best thing I got out of college was learning this from my friends, because it was my freshman year of college friends who taught me how to do it. But yes, this is my dream career. And one day when we start a family and have a baby, this will be a really good way for me to stay at home with the baby. So my husband is actually in the law enforcement field, so his job is not always super predictable. So it's ideal for me to be a stay-at-home mom, which I love. I can't wait to do that one day. So yes, selling on Poshmark kind of gives me that way to, stay home and make money, but still be home with kids. So yes, that is why this is my dream career. What are my reselling goals for 2020? So for 2020, honestly, I just want to continue to be as consistent as I can with my sales. So in 2019 was the first solid year that I've had in 6 years of reselling of daily consistent sales. Throughout the entire year of 2019, I am happy to report I did not go one day without making a sale, which is amazing. I am so proud of how much work I put into this reselling throughout, 2017, 18, and then into 2019. That helped me be able to get, that streak of literally, for the past over a year now, I've never had a day without a sale. So knock on wood, I don't want that to ever change, but for 2020, I really want to continue to have that momentum, and my biggest goal for 2020 is to be consistent with YouTube. So here I am trying to be consistent with YouTube. Throughout the entire year of 2019, I told myself I wanted to be consistent, but I never put in the effort. So yes, my biggest goal, I'd say for 2020, not really directly reselling related, but still I give reselling content on YouTube, is just to be consistent with this channel. How do I track everything for my taxes? So my husband and I, he kind of helps me with my taxes. So we use QuickBooks Self-Employed, which I highly recommend. We use that to track, gas mileage that we use when, driving to thrift stores, all of our receipts for buying, poly mailers and tape and stuff like that. But also all of our receipts for when we go thrifting, we put them in a pile and then my husband scans them into the app and keeps track of them that way. And then at the end of every single month, we import, my Posh numbers from the Posh report that you can get, like the Poshmark sales report. So we download that and we put all the numbers into the QuickBooks, and then we do the same with eBay and Mercari. For sure, by the end of the month, we definitely like to be, up to date with everything. So we make sure all the receipts are in, the sales reports are in, and everything is up to date there, so that we can go into the next month not having to worry about the rest of the year. And then come tax time, we don't have to worry about, February's tax information because we already did it in February. Does Instagram or YouTube help drive sales? So I had a few different people ask a variation of this question, like, does, being on YouTube help you get sales? Does being on Instagram help you get sales? And honestly, Not really. Like, I will say there have been people on, YouTube who will comment in one of my hauls and say, "Oh my gosh, I love that top. Is it up in your Poshmark closet?" Yes, it is. They can buy it, but that doesn't happen as often as you would think. On Instagram, same thing. If I post a haul, people might be like, "Oh my gosh, I love that. Is it listed?" And I'll send them to my closet. But the majority of the time, those platforms, here on YouTube and on Instagram, they help me just build a community. So obviously working from home, being a full-time reseller gets kind of lonely. If you are, stay-at-home mom, or you work from home, or any of that, that just being home all day, every day is kind of lonely. Like, you don't get the interaction that people do in a 9-to-5. So I think that especially the Instagram community, that helps me feel like I have coworkers, working with me every day. So I love, getting messages on there and posting photos and, interacting with the comment section. That is the main reason that I do Instagram and YouTube. I love getting your guys' comments down below and just being able to kind of help you guys with the questions that you have. So I wouldn't necessarily say I use those platforms for sales or that they help me get sales, but I like the community aspect of it, so that's why I do it. All right, how did you learn all the labels? So I actually get this question so often, whether it's in my Facebook group, on Instagram, here on YouTube. Lexi, how do you learn labels? And my biggest tip is go to Instagram, do the hashtag label porn. That'll bring up so many photos of people posting tag photos. And I love tag photos. I love posting them. I love looking at them. I love them so much. And that is honestly how I learned what brands to pick up, especially for Poshmark. For eBay, I look at people's hauls on YouTube more. So I love Rally Routes. They're an awesome channel to learn what sells on eBay. And then same with El Ducho, one of my best friends, and Street Savvy, one of my other best friends. They post amazing content here on YouTube that is mainly for eBay. They do bins hauls and stuff, and their main platforms are eBay. So those 3 accounts are amazing, and I would definitely recommend checking all of them out if you're looking for a more eBay side of things. But like I was saying, for Poshmark, honestly, just look up that hashtag on Instagram and just go through and start looking at them all the time. That's how I learned, and that's what I still do to this day, trying to find out what brands are in. So yes, another big thing when it comes to sourcing, I think that was another one of the questions. What do you look for when thrifting? My favorite things to buy to resell are things that I love. So I hate listing. I honestly do. I hate it so much. And the only thing that gets me through it is sourcing things that I love. So my favorite things to, wear and look at are Anthropologie, Madewell, Free People. And so those are what I source. I mean, it doesn't make listing boring. It doesn't make me hate it as much. It just kind of helps. So when I'm out at the thrift, those are the type of things that I look for and like to pick up, because if I like looking at it, I will sharing it and modeling it and listing it and doing all this stuff that helps it actually sell. So if I'm more driven to do the actions that help an item sell by picking up an item that I like, that's just what I'm gonna do. All right, do thrift store employees know that you're a reseller? If so, do you volunteer information? So I frequent Savers a lot, and honestly, I don't know why. I'll tell you the thing that I say every time, but I don't know why I don't tell them that I'm a reseller. I guess I'm just kind of not embarrassed of it, but afraid that they're gonna charge me more for my items. I don't know. But a lot of the time they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, you're buying so much stuff." I'll be like, "Yeah, I have zero emotional attachment to my clothing. I go to Plato's Closet and I sell my clothes, and then I take that money and buy more clothes at the thrift store." That's what I say. Or if I don't say that, because I literally every time I check out, I get comments like, "You're always in here buying a lot of stuff." And they probably know I'm a reseller, I don't know, but a lot of the time I'll be like, "Yeah, I just sell it to Plato's Closet and buy new stuff," which is kind of like reselling, so I don't know, I'm such a liar, but, or I'll tell them that they're for my sister, I don't know. I just am, for some reason, afraid to bring that up, so I don't. But that's just how I do it. If you guys tell your thrift store people that you're resellers, that's awesome. I just don't. Our thrift stores have so many people working there that even if I do tell one person that, I'm probably almost never gonna get that person as my cashier again. Not only do they have a giant turnaround, but they have like 80 to 100 employees at my thrift stores, I swear. So it's rare that I even get the same person checking me out. So it's not like they're gonna help me in the future. It's just, I don't know. There's not a lot of room for relationships to be built at my specific thrift stores, so I just don't go that route. Okay, how do I look for fakes? Specifically when it comes to shoes and purses. So for me, when it comes to fakes, I always recommend to people, do your research beforehand. So especially when it came to, when I bought that Louis Vuitton or the Christian Louboutins or anything really designer that I have, I've been doing research before I found those brands, because a lot of the time it's easy to think like, oh, I'm never gonna find Christian Louboutin heels. I'm never gonna find a Louis Vuitton purse. I'm never gonna find Prada or Gucci. But for one, that's an unfair mindset for you to have over what you're gonna source, because thrift stores are unpredictable. You never know what you're gonna find. Second, it's good to have that knowledge before you go into a thrift store, because if you do find one, you're not gonna have to sit there researching if it's real or not. You're just gonna kind of be able to know. And there's a lot of ways, depending on what brand it is, to know if something's fake or real. My first go-to is always how it feels. That's kind of a big indicator. Or, if it's a purse, is the zipper stamped or the little detail stamped? Like, everything is usually stamped, but it's different for every single brand. So it's really hard for me to tell you, this is how you know if they're real or fake. I would recommend doing what I did and going onto YouTube, and for every single designer brand that you can think of, kind of watch videos of how to tell if this is fake, how to spot a fake, da-da-da-da-da-da. And that will kind of help you have that base knowledge, so that when you find an item, you kind of have a better idea of, okay, this might be real, I should look into it, or no, this is definitely fake. What brands do I stay away from, and what brands make me want to buy them? I stay away from a lot of, mall brands. So anything that's really sold at JCPenney or Macy's. I don't really pick up that kind of stuff. Anything that's sold at Kohl's, Walmart, Target, that's not the kind of stuff that I pick up, just because if it has a really low, retail price, it's not gonna resell for a ton. So I don't really pick up those too often, but the brands that I do pick up, like I kind of mentioned before, I pick up items that I want to list and that make me happy. So a lot of the time, like I was saying, Anthropologie, Madewell, Free People, some of these brands don't sell for people. So like, it really is up to you to kind of go out and find your own little like circle of things that sell for you, your little niche, I think they call it. I don't know. But it's kind of up to you to go find what sells for you and what doesn't, because no two people can sell the same items. Like, I don't know why it is the way that it is, but for me, I have a lot of good luck when it comes to selling Anthropologie, but one of my best friends, Morgan, she has a hard time selling it. So it really all comes down to what you like selling and what sells for you. So I always tell people to try a brand, and if you see it at the thrift store, pick it up, try it, and if it doesn't sell for you, maybe don't pick up that brand again. But it's all about trial and error. I had like 4.5 years of trial and error before I became consistent with my sales, enough to like realize what brands are selling for me and what aren't. So yeah, just go out and try different things and see what works for you. Okay, what are some of your reseller fails? I think my biggest fail, like that happens all the time, is when I come home, take the tag off of an item, and then find a flaw. So I try my hardest every single time I'm in the thrift store to look over a piece for flaws. I swear I always look things over as good as I can. I get home, I pop the tag off, I go to take a photo, and there's a freaking stain or there's a hole. It happens to me all the time, and I hate it, because then I've already taken the tag off the item. I'm not the type of person to like want to just re-tag it and return it. At that point, I either just keep it, or I give it to my sister, or I re-donate it. But yeah, I do that all the time, and I hate it, and I really need to get in a better habit of looking for flaws while I'm in the store. But yeah, for now, that's a really big fail that I have. Or losing something when it sells. So, this happens to me all the time. My organization is not great. As much as I'd love to say it's perfect, it's really not. So there's been times when I sell something and then I can't find it and I have to cancel the sale. And this actually happened like a month and a half ago, I want to say. And I sold something and I canceled it and I was like, I'm so sorry, I can't find it. And she was like, well, if you find it, let me know. I'll rebuy it from you. 2 months go by. So a month and a half ago is when we got it resolved. But literally 2 months went by and I was pulling inventory to model it because I'd switched from using a lot of stock photos to modeling my clothing. And I'm putting on this shirt to model and I'm like, this is the Free People tank top I sold that I couldn't find. And I literally, like, it was in my shirts and it was supposed to be in my tank tops, but I found it and I was like, hey girl, like, it's 2 months later, but if you still want it, here it is. And she rebought it. So always be open about not being able to find something because they might come back and buy it. This person did for me. So yes, those are, I think, 2 of my biggest like fail moments. What lighting do I use? So I'll pull it over here. I use the newer ring light, but I use the white light. I think it's called the white light set or something like that. I'll link it below. But this is the ring light that I have. It's just a pretty old white ring light. And I really like this one because when you turn it on, there's a little dial right here that goes colder to warm. So like, I don't think it's gonna show up on YouTube, but right now it's like warm and then you change it and it goes to cold. So like orangey to blue, and then you can change like how much there is. So I just like how it's really easy right here on the front. And then it also has the little like phone stand, which I use for modeling my photos because I do like modeling. And then I have these little clickers that I just use to take the photo when I am modeling it. And yeah. So if you guys have ever seen my photos, that's what I use. And half the time when I'm taking photos, it is night. So I'm sitting in front of my window right now and I take my photos right there. So I do have an opportunity for natural light, but a lot of the time I don't like using that natural light because 1, it's hard for me to catch it because I'm outsourcing a lot during the day, and 2, I don't know, I'm more productive at night. So for me, the ring light was well worth the money. I think it's $125 on Amazon. I actually got it for a gift for Christmas from my sister-in-law. I love her to death for that. It is amazing. But that is the ring light that I would recommend for you guys if you are looking to get one. Okay, do I limit my money for sourcing? And I don't. So for me, I don't limit what I spend every sourcing trip because for me, if I see something for $5 and I know that I can sell it for 25 or 30 or 40 or 50, I'm gonna buy it. I'm not gonna limit myself to not picking up things that I know that I can make money on. So this is something that obviously I talked over with my husband before just going ahead and doing this, but we do not budget myself. Obviously, I'm not gonna drain my bank account going sourcing and leave myself no money for food or bills. Like, I'm not gonna do that, but I usually drop like a close to $200 every time I go to a thrift store. And that's, I don't wanna say every time I go to the thrift store, 2 to 3 times a week, I will spend $200 at the thrift store. And then usually other trips are like $45. But I wanna say I roughly spend like $500 a week sourcing, which might seem like a lot for a lot of people, but for me, I bring in enough income on Poshmark to be able to do that. So if you kind of don't want to limit yourself, just make sure, like I said, to make sure that you have the funds in the bank to still pay the bills and buy food. But for me, I've been having a super quick turnaround on items. So usually when I do spend that $200 at the thrift store, I make that back within 2 to 3 days on those items. So it's not the biggest worry for me, just because I kind of know what I'm picking up now. It does take a lot of trial and error. I wouldn't recommend doing that at first, but at this point, I kind of know that I'll make back that money like quick enough to be able to spend whatever I want while sourcing. But yes, I'm not gonna look at something, know that I'll be able to sell it, and then not pick it up because I'm limiting myself on funds. So that's just kind of the way I do it. Like I said, make sure your funds are good before you go ahead and do something like that, but that is just the way that I do it. Do I list all items on Poshmark to eBay? So yes, everything that I have on Poshmark, I list on eBay, but everything that I have on eBay, I don't list on Poshmark. So going kind of into that, I have a hard time keeping my eBay, listing count up because I sell so much on Poshmark, not to like sound cocky or anything, but like I sell a good chunk of stuff on Poshmark every day to where if I'm constantly deleting, 8 to 10 things a day off of eBay, my number is just going to keep going down. So everything that's on Poshmark goes to eBay because I'm not worried about how many active listings I have on Poshmark. But on eBay, I try to keep that active listing count fairly high. My goal is to get to 1,000, and I'm not able to do that if I'm listing everything everywhere. So I do go to the bins like twice a week usually and pick up stuff that I only list on eBay. That way I can keep that eBay listing count a little bit higher. And not constantly have it going down with stuff selling on Poshmark. So if that makes sense, I hope it does. But that's the way that I do it. So like I said, everything that's on Poshmark is on eBay, but not everything that's on eBay is on Poshmark. What's next? Do I wash everything? No, I don't. So my biggest thing that I believe is that people donate from their closets, not their dirty hampers. So that's just kind of the motto I go by. I would never donate anything from my dirty hamper. I'm sure that it happens. Obviously, if something smells or if there's a stain, I'm gonna clean it. But for the most part, if something looks clean and smells fine, I'm not gonna go through the effort of washing it because it takes time and money, and half the time, people should be washing the item when they receive it in the mail. So I try not to worry about it too much. Advice for someone wanting to go full-time as a reseller. First off, make sure you have enough money in your bank to go full-time and know that you can successfully do it without too much stress. Because the last thing you want to do is become a full-time reseller and then stress yourself out because you don't have enough money every month to pay the bills, buy food, and then buy inventory to resell. So obviously in this career path, you have to spend money to make money. Kind of unfortunate, but kind of also the way that it works. So I always recommend to people, make sure that your bank account can afford you going full-time if you're unsure of your income. But for me, when I went full-time, I was making a full-time income on Poshmark already, so I knew that I could consistently continue that. So I think I was probably making a full-time income for like 6 to 8 months before I went full-time. So during those 6 to 8 months, I was saving money from my 9 to 5 and putting it into a savings account, so I knew that I'd have money in case reselling did not work out. But when you have a consistent income for 6 to 8 months, I was just able to take away the 9 to 5 and know that I'd be okay because I've already had that consistency of money flow coming in and out of my account. So I think the biggest thing too is like when you become full-time, you're not gonna make a set amount of money every day, and you really got to push yourself to make that amount. So for me, I always really push myself to make at least $100 profit a day. And if I don't do that, then I try not to get too hard on myself, but like for me, it's a big deal because I want to continue to make the money I was making at a 9 to 5. So I usually average like $85 to $100 profit a day. I'd love to do more. I don't like doing less, but Poshmark sales are usually all over the place. Like it's never just going up, and it sometimes goes down. So it's like a little bit of a roller coaster, but yeah, just make sure you have money in your account and make sure that you have that stability going into it. But yeah, if you can make that money, then totally do it. Sorry, my husband called me. But yes, just make sure that you have the money coming in to where you can actually successfully be full-time. Advice for new poshers. The biggest thing that I wish that I would have known when I went to be full-time, just because something retails for a lot of money does not mean it's going to resell for a lot of money. One of the things is when you don't resell and you buy something for $600 at Nordstrom, you might kind of think that if you go to sell that online that you can get $400 back. Sometimes you're only going to be able to make $30. So you kind of have to know, just because something retails for a lot does not mean it's going to sell for a lot. And that just takes a lot of research into those brands and kind of knowing when to look something up. Because obviously a Louis Vuitton purse is something that's going to resell for a high value, but a house brand Nordstrom shirt might not keep that value, if that makes sense. So just do your research in the very beginning. When I first started, my phone was always on me when I was sourcing. I was every single brand I grabbed. I looked up comps and I just kind of got an idea of what something was selling for so that I knew that I could make my money back. So nowadays, I kind of know off the top of my head if I'll grab something or not. I don't really have to Google things anymore. But when you're first beginning, take advantage of Google, look up everything to ensure that you're not going to lose money. That is the biggest thing that I wish I would have known when I became full-time, is just that knowledge of high retail value does not mean high resale value. So yes, that is my biggest advice, and just have fun with it. It's so much fun. So just do it, and don't be scared to try something new, because it is a business of trying new things all the time. I'm still trying new things and I'm like 6 years into it. So yes, don't be afraid to try anything new, and look up your brands and do research so you don't end up losing money, because that is not the goal of this. How many items do I suggest listing daily? I don't list daily on Poshmark necessarily, but I do on eBay. So on eBay, I list 10 items a day. That's what works for me. A big thing with eBay is being consistent every single day. So every single day I list the exact same amount of items, 10 items every single day. I don't know if it really matters if you do it at the same time every day. I always just do it right when I wake up, but 10 items a day is what is going to keep you consistent with the eBay algorithm. For Poshmark, I come and I list everything the day that I source it. So I come home from a sourcing trip, I get 40 items, I list all 40 items that day, and then I'll take those items and draft them on eBay so I can list 10 a day for the next 4 days. When it comes to, whether I do the exact amount on Poshmark, I don't. I go days without listing. I go sometimes, 4 days without listing, just because I'm taking some time off from reselling and sourcing, and I'm, spending time with my husband, or I don't feel good. So I don't stress myself out to list every day on Poshmark. So some people say it works for them. Other people say they don't. I don't do it. So I'm not the best to give advice on how much you should do. But if you're looking at doing eBay, I suggest doing at least 10 a day. How did I get into documenting my reseller life on social media? So my friend Allison told me to make a thrifting Instagram, and I did, because she was a reseller, and that's kind of how I got into it. There's not much to it. I just really like social media. So I got into the Instagram community. I kind of just jumped into it. There's no exact reason as to why I did it. But as for maybe YouTube, I just like watching reselling videos, and I like making videos. So I was like, why not make reselling videos? I used to do a lot of vlogs on this channel. All the videos are private now because I'm kind of embarrassed by them. But I've always loved doing reselling, but I've always loved doing YouTube and making videos. So I just kind of turned it into making reselling videos, and I love it. So just something that I love doing is social media and YouTube. So I just decided to do it. Do I only source items at the bins? No, I source mainly at Savers and Goodwill. I go to the bins roughly twice a week, and like I said before, that's mainly just stuff for eBay. Top 2 tips for making more sales: take good photos, share your listings. That's literally all you gotta do to make sales. I swear. Make sure your photos are cute and aesthetically pleasing and clean, and your items are wrinkled and your background's not wrinkled. I've seen so many people take their photos on a wrinkly sheet or a wrinkly wood backdrop that they crinkled. Make sure your background is clean and not distracting, because if it's distracting, either in a good way or a bad way, because if your background is distracting in a negative way, that's gonna put negative mindset towards your item. So make sure your backgrounds are nice, make sure your photos are nice, and share the heck out of your closet, and share the heck out of your closet, and share the heck out of someone else's closet. I swear by sharing. I share from the main women's feed, so I don't necessarily go into people's closet and share that way. I just share from the women's feed just to kind of get new people coming to my account who might not have seen my account before. But yeah, that's my advice. That's what I do, and it works. So I recommend everyone else do that. Brands that sell. Like I said before, something that sells for me is not going to sell for you. It's so different for everyone. So I just recommend trying stuff and seeing if it works for you. And if it doesn't, try something else brand-wise. Like I was mentioning before, Anthropologie sells well for me, but it doesn't sell for my friend Megan. So like I said before, Anthropologie sells really well for me, but it doesn't sell for my friend Morgan. So you kind of just have to figure out what sells for you and go from there. But I do recommend looking at brands the way that I mentioned before to kind of get an idea of what maybe to try picking up to see if it sells for you. But yes, that is my video. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you have any more questions for me, you can put them in the comment section below and I will try to get back to you within a timely manner and answer those questions for you. So yes, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys soon. Bye guys.